the NCC has changed its format quite a bit, and one of the things that's brought in now, I guess you'd know as soon as you open it up, and that's the introduction of the housing provisions in Volume 2. So that's a particular, I guess, nomenclature or referencing system that everyone needs to get familiar with. But it's more kind of adapting, the way it's been in previous issues to previous editions to how it is now. I think it's probably just a case of using it and getting used to new habits, really. I went to an HIA seminar a couple of months ago, and one of the speakers who's familiar with a lot of builders down here pointed out that a lot of the changes, particularly with the accessibility, are things that people have been doing for quite a while anyway. The way these are found, the livable housing standards have been, I guess they've evolved over a number of years of, around the country, and there's no real surprises in it now being legislated, and a lot of people have been doing it or working towards it for quite a while, voluntarily, and because they're good design practices. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, housing for what you'd call, well, livable housing or inclusive housing, like that story I had before, is just it's a bit of a no-brainer, really. I mean, it's just designing for everyone. Steps along the way to, before the builder starts. Obviously, there's the design process, and then there's the energy assessment, and the building surveyor's involvement as well. So there's kind of checks and balances, I guess you'd say, along the way. The way I would approach design and not wanting to exclude anyone, and certainly I would say I learned things along the way from dealing with particular clients, but then that kind of becomes part of what I would like to do and say, well, okay, if I'm going to design something for a spec house builder, for example, without a particular client in mind, then I would defer to the most inclusive parts. I mean, that's the way I've approached it always, really. And it's things like, with the livable housing, building a wall, you might not necessarily want to build your bathroom with grab rails in it, but it's the easiest thing by far is to put an extra nogging in the wall when it's being built. Make sure everyone knows it's there, so that down the track you can find them later on. But if it's there as a matter of course, well, then it becomes cheaper and far more straightforward to add grab rails later on, and maybe add them and then take them off again. The whole idea of a house that can be a bit more dynamic in terms of meeting the demands of people. And that's something that's changing now. I think, as well, part of the whole of life use of a house is designing for multi-generational housing as well. If I can talk a customer through whether it's a builder or someone who wants to get a place designed, if we can talk them through it, and these issues are non-issue or close to a non-issue, well, that's successful, isn't it? As long as it's all compliant and I guess that's what we're looking for, isn't it? That kind of seamless transition.